What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Couch Podcast. We have a very special episode for you today. We're going to be talking about the mysterious position, the ever so hard to predict position of tight ends. We are joined, of course, by my co-host, co-founder, partner on this in this fantasy couch business for 14 years,
Dang.
Mike Mittal. And
What
we're
up?
also joined with Sue Shane, aka the Dynasty Day Trader, aka the Tight End Shaman, aka Dynasty Nipsey Hustle, whatever you
Love
want
it.
to call him. Coach Sush, here to reveal uh the tight end. You're gonna unmask. You're gonna Scooby Doo unmask, right? The tight end position. You're gonna go away with all the mystery. Tell us who's actually the real good tight end, what to look for. You are the tight end whisperer. That's actually the one that I hate the most. The nick out of all the nicknames I just came up with off the
Tight end
top of my
whisperer.
head.
Okay.
And it's terrible. It's so played out. There's too many whisperers.
Sure.
There's the dog whisperer. There's the QB whisperer. You're the tight end shaman. At least I like that.
All right.
Better.
Well, I hope I don't disappoint today, man. It's a big class. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
well, come back on, guys, in 4 years, and then you can bully Sushane. But we won't know
Exactly.
until 2-3 years from now, like 4 years. We'll
Yeah.
see how right you were. But you've been hitting just remarkably well. Mike's been pretty good with rookie QBs. You've been great with tight ends. I've been good with running backs. Wide receiver, I don't know. What is
Yeah, we got to find someone.
we need a wide
We need some help.
we need help from the audience with the wide receivers, man. They're so tough. Guys like Jalen Rager. I don't even remember the Washington wide receiver. His name was similar to Jahan Dotson. What's it? Doxson? Something
Oh yeah,
563.
Docson.
He's so
Oh
this.
man. Ooh.
Oh no, De'Ami Brown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
part of
remind me.
your legacy, Sushane, but you didn't push him really hard. You pushed him only as like a sleeper. Like,
Yeah. Sure.
it's more epic when it's like it wasn't like a first round pick.
He drafted him though in his first draft with us, live draft. I remember,
did.
like in the
Round
late
2,
rounds. I was like,
2.10.
"Who's Diami Brown?" Like I'm like, "What the?"
No, people know. I mean, it was one of his guys for sure. He was
Yeah.
drafting him, but it wasn't like it wasn't like my Jalen Rager. There's a clip of me
No,
online
no, that's
that'll live
bad.
together. Like, oh God, I hope he takes Justin Jefferson and I get Jalen Rager. It's literally me saying that
Yeah.
on a
that's
video,
pretty bad.
and yeah, I don't delete anything. Yeah,
You're
that's
just as bad as the Eagles front office because they did the same thing.
hey, they take a fat L, but other than that, they get W's all around. That was
That's true.
one
They
fact.
rebounded.
My team, hey, my team's awesome in that league. Like I finished second place this past year. My team's
Wow.
awesome, but hey, I'm gonna have misses too. So we're talking tight ends. We have a lot of big news. I know I took a hiatus. I know, for those that care, I will let you guys know what's up with that at the end. But I am back. I just want to let that be known. I am fully back. Dynasty rankings are in the works. Actually posted them on Instagram. We have awesome feature. Can we just talk about this first, Sushane? We have some
Let's do it.
resources on the website. I'm bringing them up right now. Okay, so we have this first of all. So you just go to fantasycouch.com, and this one, Sushane simplified. You kind of like to go into detail and go on and on, but I taught you that people don't like
Condense it. Yeah.
yeah, people need the quick fix. Yeah, they need the quick fix, which is great. Most people are lazy and don't do that, but you're learning. You're going to condense it. It's short. It's to the point. And this is awesome, guys. So this is the Dynasty bylaws. You can go to fantasycouch.com, download it, PDF, download it, Word doc, pin it to your league chat. It's basically the rules that you want to abide by your Dynasty league. And for those that play Dynasty, they know that it's really hard to manage a league and for it to go on for a long time. And so bylaws do help. And these are the bylaws that we use. I especially like your lack of lottery, the draft order.
Sure. Okay.
I love that. We go by, what's that called? Max points for? What's it called?
Yeah, max points for, which is basically like, hey, even if a guy is purposely tanking, he's benching guys like Mahomes and Jerry Jeudy just to not, get the win. it doesn't matter for the pick order because those points will still count towards max points for, which is basically measuring, hey, if your best lineup was started every single week for the season, what would be your total season points that you would have scored? So it's a good way of kind of avoiding, purposeful tanking. If people want to tank, they're going to have to tank the right way, which is going to by having less talent on the roster and pushing it out for years in the future.
I'll just put it, no weird tanking. You don't have to worry about competing that week or benching all your players and everyone arguing. You just compete every week because you're going off max points for, so you don't got to worry about that. Anyway, fantasycouch.com, download the bylaws. Even if you don't want to use them, just go there, download them for free. I posted it also on Discord and on Patreon, so you can get it there as well. And we just uploaded, ladies and gentlemen, our newest. That was a tiny one. That's like,
it's still a big one.
That's like a little bit of salt. We got a big Texas steak here. That was just a little. Baby. That was just a little bit of like a little pre-season. That was like a top ramen package of season. That was just a little sprinkle. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a 2023 rookie draft guide. Now it is late. I'm not going to deny that, but it is free and it is awesome. How many pages is this? Close to 60?
Yeah, it's over 50 pages for sure.
Okay, so wow. I don't know if you said 50 or 60.
50, 50. I don't think it's quite 60, but it's close.
Over 50 pages, and it's straight to the point. 2023 rookie draft guide. It gets you to know each rookie more in depth. Gets to know who they are, what's their pros and cons, their measurables, and how they are going to pan out in the NFL. Now, Sue Shane wrote this. Andrew Eggers helped them a lot. He's behind the scenes right now. So this is not me. This is not my doing. So it's you get a different perspective on the rookies. It's definitely for fantasy guys, but it's more of is this right? Or how would you it's more of an NFL synopsis, but we know that people that are going to read it are definitely into fantasy football, redraft, and especially Dynasty. How would you put it, Sushane?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it. It kind of paints the picture of what the prospect is bringing to the table at the NFL level. And I do want to mention one thing. I think this kind of makes our draft guide a little bit more unique from the others. What's going to happen is the other draft guides, you're going to kind of see guys like, for example, Tyjae Spears, right? He's behind Derrick Henry. So their draft guide might say something like, hey, if Derrick Henry gets hurt, Tyjae Spears is a start. In our draft league, when Derrick Henry gets hurt, you can look at this draft guide and say, how good will Tyjae Spears be? I think that's the difference between our guide and some of the others that are out there. In my opinion.
What does that mean? You're basically just focusing on Tyjae Spears as a player, not his landing spot. That's what. Okay.
Not the landing spot, not the situation. I'm basically saying, hey, if he has, a good opportunity, what's he going to do? Because not everyone could be Alexander Madison. We know Madison, when Dalvin Cook is out, puts up roughly the same numbers usually. Not everyone can be that. We saw what happened with Hassan Haskins. Doesn't really do much. So we'll see. You'll know based on this guide. Obviously, we're just focusing on running backs in the conversation we're talking about. But again, quarterbacks, receivers, and tight ends are also in play.
To go off on a tangent and make this a little longer, also, Arian Foster, another guy, when his backup came in, he did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Just total, does nothing to do with anything we're talking about, just the obscure Arian Foster reference. But yeah, usually they do well. Anyway, just go to fantasycouch.com, guys. These draft guides are free. The template is free. You can download it. I'm going to post this on Discord and Patreon as well. 100% free. Most people are going to be charging $20 plus for this type of thing, or a premium membership where you're paying like $100 for the season or something. This one's going to be free. It's a great mix of it being short and to the point, yet it's detailed enough where you can kind of go into a deep dive. So it's going to save a little bit of time while also doing a deep dive. And I know that sounds impossible, but that was our number one sole goal with this guide. 1 page per player. Anyway, I'm not going to keep talking about it. I just love this. This is what I did. I designed this 3D thing. I think it looks sexy.
It does.
I mean, it's just, I can't. I want to eat it. I want to open it. It's like one of those cakes. Like, is it the show? Like the videos? Is it a cake or is it real? Is it a book? I don't know, but it looks tasty.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that could
Oh,
be
yeah.
a cake. You got to cut that with a knife and see if that's a cake or not. But man, regardless, that's a dessert. It's sweet. It's awesome. It's sexy. Go get it. fantasycouch.com. Yeah, that's right, Rolando. My headphones broke, but they're super expensive. I don't really feel like buying new ones. It's just a little flap. It's like a little flaccid on the left ear. It's all good. Best, okay, Joe. Best fantasy channel. Thank you, Val. All right. Anything before we begin? We're diving right now. We're gonna go full on with the tight ends. Any last comments? Any last words before we do this, guys?
I got nothing. So where did it go?
Buckle up.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Shane, take over.
All right. So before we get into the tight end specifically, because I know that you're interested in, which one should I draft, who should I not draft, I do want to peel it back just a little bit and tell you guys a touch of how I evaluate these guys. Obviously, it's going to be impossible to go over every single detail because, it's a very detailed position. It's football at the end of the day. But I could at least tell you guys some of the most important, or maybe the first things or the major things that I look for when evaluating these tight ends. And I've broken it down to pretty much 5 big ones here. The first one's going to be the body architecture, right? I'm looking for someone who's a little bit wider built. Tight ends are supposed to do, multiple things for a football team. Receiving is one. That's one we care about as fantasy managers. But also blocking is another one, which, football coaches care about. And, in terms of, getting drafted, getting the opportunity, the best tight ends are probably going to have to do both, right? Or the most sought after ones, rather. So for a wider frame, you're able to kind of fill the gap better as a blocker. And that's kind of why I prefer that type of body architecture to, let's say, a guy like Kyle Pitts, who's an extreme exaggeration, but he's kind of like a rail, right? He's very slim, very tall, very skinny. Obviously, I like him for different reasons, but again, we'll keep discussing here. So that's the first one. Second one is elite ball tracking, right? Anyone can catch a football. I mean, if they're drafted, I'm saying, right? Because when you get drafted to the NFL, that basically means you're a top 1 or top 2% athlete. But the elite ball tracking is, where it really makes a difference. There's the reason why tight ends are not receivers, right? Receivers are better at catching a football. They're more athletic. They are more acrobatic with the football. They can do more things with the ball in their hands. They can make these insane catches, these freaky types of plays. Tight ends are not supposed to do that. The elite ones can. That's called ball tracking, in my opinion. That's what I'm looking for. Third one is going to be separation skills. How do you get open? Again, tight ends, not like receivers, right? Guys like Jalen Hyatt and Deshaun Jackson, they're going to get open and beat you with speed. Tight ends probably can't do that. So how do they get open? By creating separation within their route, whether that's going to be off the get off, that's the stem, somewhere along the route while making a double move, or maybe at the top of the route, using their bigger frame to kind of shield off the defender and whatnot. So that's the third thing. Fourth thing I look for would be the just raw physicality, play strength, power, however you want to word it. Usually you can kind of get a good gauge of this when you look at blocking highlights. But also, with the ball in their hands, yards after catch, you can kind of see some guys are trucking over players. Other guys are, Couch, you alluded to this for when we were talking about running backs. Other guys, when they get tackled, they're falling backwards, not forward. So based on that, you can kind of gauge the play strength, power, however you want to put it, physicality, whatever. And then the last thing would be the prototype, right? For me, the prototype matters. Half of these tight ends are going to be blocking for the rest of their careers, right? So you really got to know which ones even have a shot to get receiving upside, because that's really what we care about when we're talking about fantasy football. So that's a little bit about what I'm looking for, okay? Let's talk about the tight end class as a whole. Go ahead.
Look, I'm I like football and all, but I'm just obsessed with fantasy. I'm just trying to win in fantasy. So that's like every conversation like that I encounter with people, they're always talking more about football. They're just naturally more real life football fans than me. While
Sure.
I'm just as or often more obsessed about the fantasy aspect. So let's just talk strictly fantasy here. When you have a tight end that's the athletic / receiver type compared to the complete package, like let's say Jason Witten, are they more risky, the receiver type, more risky, more harder to predict, more inconsistent? Like, I mean, look at Waller. He's like the worst. He's like the best. Like, what? Pick a lane. Evan Ingram. He's like top 3. He's like bottom 3. Like 1 year. Kyle Pitts is the best tight end ever, Hall of Famer, and then an automatic L. You drafted him, Mike, didn't you? Lose?
Yeah,
we all did. We all lost in some league.
Right when you drafted Kyle Pitts.
No, I won in one
lost.
league
With Pitts.
With Pitts, yeah.
You're not supposed to do that on the pod.
No,
you defied me. You defied me.
Well, I always pick up someone off waivers that is a villain.
Yeah, who was your?
I pick up Njoku. That's what I picked up. Okay. Yeah.
Was he? He wasn't good last year.
He was all right. It's one of those guys where you could start in for a little bit.
Good enough to win.
Yeah.
You must have had a great team, because I've never seen a winning Kyle Pitts team last year. I looked at a lot of teams.
I had Niners defense, among others.
Who's your running back?
Great receivers. I forget.
Yeah,
I gotta look back.
Because you're in multiple leagues.
Yeah, but I did have Kyle Pitts.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, somebody won with Kyle Pitts.
That's
not
because of him, but
Andrew had to find a substitute for Jalen Hurts because he was like the best quarterback.
Yeah, I had to start Minshew. I won with Minshew, and
what a great his actual backup in real life. Okay, so so what is the difference if you talk strictly fantasy wise, like why you like it? That's you like this, you like that. So in fantasy, like what is there a separation? Is there a reason why we should separate those two?
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring up 2 reasons. One of them is the opportunity, right? So Michael Mayer, for example, he's gonna be playing the Y position, while Dalton Kincaid and guys like Kyle Pitts and whatever, they play the F position. I know this is real football, but I'll get to the fantasy in a little bit here. The F is not going to be on every play. It has to be a 3 receiver set, or if you're going to go with Kincaid, it's got to be some sort of 12 personnel when you have 2 tight ends in order to have that F. And that F player is a revolving door usually. So it's not like one person is set as the F every time. You'll have based on down and distance. Oh, do I want a big slot? Okay, if I'm the Bills, I'll put Kincaid. Do I want someone shifty? Okay, I'll put someone else. Do I want someone like this? I'll put someone else. So it's kind of like a revolving door. And on top of that, the opportunities are very limited because, again, an F player is not asked to block. So on running plays, running downs, on downs where the defense knows it's going to be running play and you have to block and everything, or downs where you have to match the defensive personnel and kind of, get some bigger players on there for blocking, that F tight end is not even going to be on the field unless you want a liability on the field or some sort of a decoy, right? So regardless, it's not going to help you out. It's only there to get those, limited receptions. And that's kind of what you were talking about. Why is Waller so good and then so bad and then so good and then so bad? Well, because when he's on the field and he gets it on, they're going to say, hey, this F is working. They have no counter for our F alignment, so we're just going to keep rolling with this guy. And then when he's no good, well, got to put some other receiver. Maybe we'll go to Hunter Renfrow instead, and maybe instead he becomes the, maybe that's when he goes off a couple of years back. He had a couple of good games. That's probably what happened over there.
So that's the difference between why. That's a lot. That's a lot of information for me. Can we sum that up as that guy, the receiver guy, situational?
Yeah.
Is that a good way to sum up what you just said? So wait, there's a Y. What did you say? There's a Y?
There's a Y and then there's an F.
That's it? There's only 2?
X and Z as well on the outside, right?
But those are the okay. 4. Those are the okay. Oh, this is receivers. Okay. X, Y, Z, and then F. Okay, Y. Okay, I thought this was like strictly for tight ends. I got you.
No, this is just like a playbook. Looking at a playbook.
Got you. And F is the traditional tight end.
Y is your traditional tight end. F is like your slot receiver type of guy.
F is your slot wide receiver type of guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to call plays with an F all the time because you can't. Situationally in the football game, you can't. So that's the problem that I have. Yeah. That's why I believe in inline wise over.
I'm learning
block.
football. We're learning about tight ends, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So there's a Y tight end and an F tight. Okay, go on.
Correct. There's also an H, but we don't care about that for fantasy because that's exclusively blocking. So don't even worry about that.
It's like a fullback.
Like a fullback, exactly. Right.
A goal line package guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about the class as a whole before we start getting into them right away individually. It's going to be just very brief here. I would say this, right? It's definitely a strong tight end class. There's a lot of tight ends drafted. I like 4 of them in particular for fantasy draft. It's going to be the first 3 that were drafted: Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, Michael Mayer. And then I got one sleeper guy who was drafted in round 3, Tucker Kraft. Those are the 4 guys that I like, that I would draft in fantasy football, that I would recommend you guys to take. And those are going to be the 4 guys that we talk about today. So because there's 4 guys, that kind of automatically makes the class strong. Not going to lie. There's 4 options. How many other classes do we get 4 decent tight end options? Not a ton. The problem is when we get a deeper dive and look at the individual tight ends, we're going to notice that it's not as strong as we hope. So it's a little bit weak in that regard. And then also there are some guys who are overrated and a little bit underrated. So with that being said, let's get into it. And let's start off with Dalton Kincaid, yeah? I'm not going to show a ton of clips today. I'm just going to show them, pick and choose, whatever. This is basically what Dalton Kincaid brings to the table. Ball tracking. You can pluck the ball out of the air. Tight ends are not supposed to be able to do this, guys. I'm just saying. Not supposed to be able to do that. Not for a tight end. That's some receiver type stuff right there. You love to see it. I think this ball actually got tipped as well, so a little bit of a nod to concentration on top of ball tracking. And also you can see the catch radius. It looks pretty nice there. He is a little bit slimmer. That's kind of the problem that I have, and that's why he's a flex tight end. And I think we've heard the Bills come out and say, I think it was Brandon Beane, the general manager, he came out and said that they do anticipate Kincaid not being used on blocking. I don't know what the exact quote was, but it was something similar to that. So he's going to be a situational guy. Now, as far as fantasy football goes, I like him, not as much as everyone else does. That's the thing. So I have him right now. I don't have my rookie rankings completely finalized, but I have him somewhere between 12 and 15. Okay? Couch, I saw your rankings today only. You have him at 13. So we have him around the same. So when I say that he's overrated, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the other guys who are taking this man at 10th overall, ahead of 2 other guys that I like, in the first round, with the expectations that he's going to be the next Travis Kelce. There is no way in hell he's the next Travis Kelce. I'm sorry, he's not. I like him. He's my 13th, 14th, something like that guy in this draft. I got 4 tight ends in the top 15. I like this class. The problem is you guys are you're putting me in a tough spot. Not you guys in particular, but in general, you guys are putting me in a tough spot when you're telling me, hey, let's take Kincaid over Michael Mayer and some of these other guys, and put the expectation that he's going to be just some electric fantasy football asset, like top 3, top 5 tight end. Let's pump the brakes there. Let's be more realistic. He's probably going to be like a tight end 10, 11, maybe tight end 9, somewhere in that range. And then maybe there might be that one solid year where he ends up like the 4th or 5th best tight end, because that's what usually happens to even guys like Evan Engram, for example, right? So that should be the expectation. Given that expectation,
here's Kelce. Just one thing: Kelce has nearly the most snaps out of all tight ends.
Out of the slot,
offensive snap percentage, yeah.
Isn't he in the best situation though?
Just offensive snaps I'm talking about in general. So basically, Kelce's on the field all the time except when he's like tired.
Right.
That's it.
So he's also not asked to block as much because he's quite literally the only receiving option that they have that's actually threatening for a defense. So he's going to have to go on everything. That's one thing. I understand the argument, but what I want to push back on is that I'm looking at like a prototype, right? for example, let's talk about receivers for just a second because it's really simple for me to explain this. When I call someone an X wide receiver, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're 6'5" and just humongous. They could be a little bit more smaller, like a Garrett Wilson, but they could just have those types of skills that just warrants being put at the X position. So it's the same thing with Kelsey. Like I understand that he's being used as a flex tight end, but in the playbook, he's not playing the F position. He's not. It just so happens that they're splitting their Y in the slot. So there's a big difference with that, right? He's getting used maybe more as like similarly to a flex tight end, but he's still playing the Y. And that to me holds the most weight, in my opinion, for that argument. But it's a valid claim. I get it. I get a lot of pushback for that because, Dalton Kincaid is going to, a lot of people say like, Cole Beasley, that type of production projection. And if you look at Cole Beasley's stats, I mean, he's getting 600, 800 yards with Josh Allen. And that would be pretty great for a tight end. But I just have a hard time getting all the way there for now because of the situation, right?
The Kelsey thing's stupid, I think. But since we do technically agree on Kincaid, I think this is where we may kind of disagree. I have him ranked number 13 on my rookie dynasty rankings in non-PPR. Now, I'm looking at this guy. He looks very fluid. Like he moves like water, which is so rare for a tight end. He's just so natural, like the total opposite of clunky. I mean, the fit is good. I think people think it's better than me, but the fit is good. The draft capital is amazing. They went out of their way to go get him. The Bills did. So all that is good. And I still have him ranked low. But here's where I think we may disagree, like to have at least some sort of debate or another opinion instead of me just saying yes, is that in tight end premium, because of all these things. And okay, we got Bob in here. You got to talk about, when I say the Bills, also mean Josh Allen, which is a big part of the Bills.
Of course, absolutely.
I think in a tight end premium league, which is why I love playing Superflex and tight end premium, because that just breaks all these like stupid loopholes in fantasy where like don't draft a quarterback, don't like. You can go in these type of dynasty leagues where it's super flex and tight end premium. You could go any way and you can make any argument for any of those. I think Kincaid. Now I probably wouldn't, because I follow your advice when it comes to tight ends. But I think there's a great argument for really going after and reaching for Kincaid, maybe even like 7 overall, let's say, which is, I think people would go even further. Where did he go? I'm going to bring that up, where he went in that $250 draft we just did. I'm going to bring that up in a second. But so what do you say of people, drafted him super early in a tight end premium, let's say 7th overall?
I'm cool with that. But my follow-up question would be where is Michael Mayer going then, right? If Michael Mayer is going 12 overall and Kincaid is going 7, I mean, now I have a little bit of an issue because, especially for tight end premium, there has been no, and we're going to get to Michael Mayer in a little bit, but there has been no tight end in college football history more productive than Michael Mayer in over 20 years. So
that's your only gripe. Okay. Premium, which is what, which is basically what this podcast is about today. Okay.
Right.
So that's your only gripe, is him going ahead of Mayer.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I have him as my 4th tight end. Could be 3rd tight end. I kind of have a little bit of a mix. I guess we can kind of shift over to Sam Laporta now that we're getting into it. He would be my tight end 3 or 4. I mean, yeah, I have no issue with that. If you want to reach in a tight end premium and you're hurting for tight end, yeah, I'm in with Dalton Kincaid.
I got you.
It just got to be after Mayer.
You like him, but not as much. Okay, so he went 10th overall in our high stakes tight end premium super flex league. So, okay.
He's going 10 overall in a lot of leagues. I would say, just from people sending me their draft boards and whatever, honestly, not making it up, I would say in like 95% of leagues, he's going at exactly 10 overall. Not 9, not 11. He's going exactly 10.
In Bob's league, 10th overall tight end premium, Mayer right after that, which is much smarter than this guy maybe taking Will Levis, because Will Levis scares me. I love
Oh
his
yeah, for sure.
upside, but I moved him down on my rankings. Bob's also saying he can for sure be the next Mark Andrews, which is, I say, a possibility. I guess. I mean, he's got a better quarterback, so
Kincaid
Kincaid.
built a little bit differently from Mark Andrews, but I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean,
get it.
I think no way Mark Andrews, but he's got Josh Allen, which could make up for that. Because Josh
I
Allen's
think
amazing.
he's saying that
That is a
because
trump
Mark
card.
Andrews used to be a receiver, and I feel like Dalton Kincaid is the most fluid receiver of all the tight ends. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I see that. He would definitely have to work on the blocking, which is not impossible. He's saying in a few years. I think in a few years is the key to that comment there.
If he gets bigger, like stronger, I think he can definitely, reach that.
Wider.
Yeah,
wider is the
That's why
exact word
Mayer
I'm
is
looking
better
for.
because Mayer has the ideal, like
He's
physical body type,
Right.
for blocking
Exactly.
and receiving.
He's thick, baby. All right, we're going on Sam Laporta now. Here's what Sam Laporta can do for you. Nice. Not bad, right? He can get up there. He can catch it. If you slow it down a little bit and rewatch it, you're going to look at the body type and you're going to see that this guy's a little bit more compact, more bulky, a little bit wider built than what we just saw with Dalton Kincaid. And let me just get right to the point, Couch. Why am I having difficulty between Laporta and Kincaid? Because I am really struggling. Do I go Kincaid first? Do I go Laporta first? Laporta, Kincaid. So obviously we talked about Kincaid and what he can bring, what type of upside he has as a receiver for fantasy football. For Sam Laporta, he has everything I like. So every single box that I have, he's checked off every single box. The only issue is that he's not like amazing at anything. He doesn't have amazing speed. He's got average speed. He doesn't have amazing physicality. He's got average physicality. He doesn't have, insane ball tracking ability. He's got average. He's average at everything. Average physicality, average blocking, average whatever. But in a class that's so weak and so thin, or no, sorry, not class, at a position in the NFL where it's like, there's only a handful of good tight ends, I feel like being average at everything might be good enough to get by and kind of get you into that low end tight end 1, high end tight end 2 category. And that's the bottom line of, if I got Laporta at around that range and I have Kincaid at around that range, that's kind of why I'm struggling a little bit to figure out who to rank higher, and so on. But lots of likes with he's got a nickname out there, Sammy Ballgame. That's what I think Fantasy Pros calls him, Sammy Ballgame. He's good, man. He's cool. Detroit Lions. I know that's a cool fit. We were talking earlier in the offseason, Couch, if you remember. Who were my top landing spots or fits for Michael Mayer? And I did list Detroit because Hawkinson's gone. So what do you think of that fit in Detroit? I'm curious because we did talk about the Bills and Josh Allen, but how do you see the fit for Detroit with a lesser quarterback, but given the way they use the tight end, it's interesting.
Oh, I don't love it, but this is gonna sound crazy. It's perfect, yet I don't love it because where's the logic? Everyone's forgot about Jamison Williams. I love Jamison Williams. Okay, let's just forget about him. Everyone listening to this podcast right now loves him on Raw. There's no doubt about that. We're at 100% approval rate. Jahmyr Gibbs is the next Kamara, Jamal Charles. He's gonna just be amazing.
Good.
Like, Sam Laporta, yeah, it is the perfect fit, and he will be good. He just doesn't pop to me, and this is the same argument in my own mind I was having with Zay Flowers and Addison. Was that, I mean, everyone's telling me Addison's good, and I mean, he is good, but like the guy that popped to me was Zay Flowers, though. Like when I watched Zay Flowers film, I love the guy. When I watch Addison's film, I'm like, I mean, I'm sure he'll be good in the NFL. It's a great fit. but I got to go with the guy that just pops more, that I think is going to help me win a championship. So, yeah, Sam Laporta, not a bad pick. Great fit. I just don't know if he's going to help you win a fantasy championship. I don't think he'll ever be a top 10 guy unless this team just completely changes. And as of right now, it's Goff and Hooker and a ton of other great weapons. Let's not forget about David Montgomery as well. It's not a huge pass catcher or anything, but just another weapon. And they have other wide receivers too. It's just I don't know. He's good, but I think his peak, I think his absolute upside is capped at being Pat Freiermuth. I think that's
perfect.
I think
we're in agreement.
He'll never pass him in the race. Like he'll never go past Pat Freiermuth. It's
I
at
love
least
that.
me. I'm stubborn. I'm sticking to it. Like that's just how I am. Like there's just no way I'm saying this guy's gonna better than Pat Freiermuth. I'll never admit that until my fantasy team just dies.
No, I agree with that. The upside is capped, and I like what you're saying about Pat Freiermuth. I like Freiermuth, but I understand and I recognize that he's probably never going to be that elite tight end type of thing. So
tight end 7, maybe.
Tight end
7. Tight end 6. I think Freiermuth could be that. And
Laporta will never get there.
yeah.
He'll never get there.
Thanks. Me saying tight end 6-7 isn't that insane for Freiermuth. Unfortunately, he has terrible quarterback as well over there. Which hey, that's
part
if
of
he
it.
had a good quarterback. Yeah, just all you gotta do is throw the ball to Freiermuth. Like that's all you got to do. Sometimes he's great.
Yeah.
Oh, Laporta. We have more Laporta.
Yeah, more Laporta. Oh yeah. Okay. So this one, it's a little bit of a grainy footage, but I could not find any other copy of this. I need you to see what Laporta does mid route to this guy. We got to slow this down.
I'm no blocking expert here. I stick to fans.
This isn't even blocking. This is just being vicious physicality. You're not going to see Kincaid doing that. Oh, he's
the guy running the route. Oh,
he's the guy running the route.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm blind. Yes, duh.
In the red circle, and then look what he does to the defender. He just puts him to the ground. Grown man stuff right here. Cover your eyes, kids. Ooh. Will Dalton Kincaid ever do that? No. That's a little bit of why I'm struggling, because that physicality, that power element, man, I need that. I need some of that in my life. Oh, baby.
Yeah, they're not.
And this is against my school, by the way, Illinois. So, as much as I feel bad that an Illinois guy is going down, at least it's by a tight end. I can keep on watching this for hours, dude.
Yeah, they're not going to use Kincaid like this. But...
No. So that's just a little bit about what type of stuff I'm looking for as far as the physicality and the power, right? Most of it you're going to see on blocking, but if you don't want to watch any blocking tape, try to look for stuff like this, right? It shows you the little intricacies and all the little skills and whatever he's got. This is the same play, just a little bit clearer, so you can see it. Now it is cut off, but at least you can see the guy just goes down at the corner of the screen there. Same play, just a little bit cleaner video.
I made an observation. I feel like Laporta, since he's from Iowa, is like poor man's Kittle in a way. I would say Kincaid, he's like a poor man's Kelsey, the way he receives the ball. And then Mayer is like a poor man's Gronk. That's how I look at those three. As like a comparison of what they could be. I
don't know about the Kittle one. The Kelsey one is right. It's just shocking. But I don't know about the Kittle. What do you think about the Kittle comparison?
Well, they're from the same school, so I feel like they have the same traits.
I know they were the same.
They learn from the same. They learn the same things, the same, strategies.
Yeah, I get the bloodlines. The bloodlines are there. Iowa. I would say that if you go back and watch some of George Kittle, Iowa Hawkeyes footage, you're going to see a different level of physicality. And, we can turn the page and get to the next two guys if we want to, Couch, but I've got someone else compared to George Kittle, Mike, that you didn't even mention. And this is my sleeper, my little wild card, my my gem of the draft, so to speak. And I think
Is it
he's
Cameron
actually
Latou?
no,
Oh, not him. Not him.
Oh man, hey, we can talk about him too later on. You know, might as well.
Let's just throw him in there.
Yeah, might as well. No, but we can. If we have anything else on Laporta, otherwise we can just turn the page right to it. Couch.
We're on the next one. What do we watch?
Okay,
this, right?
I see Notre Dame. So let's talk Mayer first. Let's talk Mayer first, who you were saying kind of like a Gronkowski type. Yeah, I would say this is the closest thing
Oh
to
my
Gronkowski.
God, that's so sexy.
He looks like
Yeah,
Gronk.
dude.
He's like big.
Dude, what is that?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
come on.
baby.
Wow.
Yeah, buddy.
This guy
I made
looks
sure to
so
do him well.
good.
That's a Gronk catch right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I'll say a couple things here to get started on Michael Mayer.
Oh my God.
He is one of 3 tight ends, the other 2 being Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, that I used his college tape to teach my own guys. I'm not using Dalton Kincaid. I'm not using Hayden Hurst. You know, I'm not using George Kittle. I'm not using Hawkinson even. I'm using Kelce. I'm using Andrews. And I'm using this guy, Michael Mayer, because these guys are so fundamentally sound. It's crazy.
You can't
It's
teach
crazy
that,
how
though.
by the book they are, dude. Amazing. Amazing. And then of course they can do stuff like this. I mean, this is some absolute freak show circus cat stuff. Unbelievable. All right. Now the problem is, and this is what we kind of talked about with Dalton Kincaid. The problem is he's not the first tight end drafted in most rookie drafts. Some guys are I would say about 30% of rookie drafts have probably taken Mayer ahead
because
of
he's
Kincaid,
on the Raiders.
maybe less.
That's why.
Because he's on the Raiders.
That's really the only reason why.
Josh McDaniels, the whole Gronkowski thing.
Actually was in tune with the talks before the NFL draft, and people liked Kincaid more. Even just like talking heads on TV, not talking about fantasy, like Kincaid more. And
Daniel
Kincaid
Jeremiah
was drafted ahead. Like it was, it was shocking. And I talked to Sue Shane a lot, so I went in. I tried to go in non-biased, but I went in like kind of like, who is this Kincaid guy? When I try to hate on him, I loved Kincaid when I saw. I was like, wow, this guy's super fluid. But I love Mayer a lot more when I went and watched him again and again. And yeah, I'm a huge Mayer fan. I definitely bought in. You sounded like a bit more like a Kincaid hater whenever we talked. I don't hate him much. It's just my policy with fantasy is that if it ain't tight end premium, and you got to be careful with tight end premium, but if it ain't tight end premium, I don't try to draft too many rookie tight ends. It's worked. Sure. It's worked for me. This is something that, when I researched when I was first going into Dynasty, that was kind of like a good golden rule. A lot of people told me, and some I practiced. It's worked. I got guys like Freiermuth in a rebuilding team. I had Goddard as well, traded him away. These guys that got really cheap. I got Freiermuth for free in that league, believe it or not. I got George Kittle in my other league, Isaiah Likely in my other league. Chick, what do we call Okonkwo? Sure. You told me about him. Yeah. So I got him off free agency. Sure. $0 bid. Mm-hmm. He went undrafted. Like I don't mind when I say like draft, I mean like if it's a 4th round pick, like that's like free, but I didn't even draft. He was undrafted. So like that's worked. And that's why this tight end premium thing, just like Superflex, same thing with quarterbacks, introduces this whole new thing of like, should I take him? Should I take him? And yeah, I don't know what I was talking about, but this is one I had a question about though. Just note this. We don't talk about it now. Shoemaker Cowboys, very interested in this guy, just to hear your take. And then we have someone screaming couch. All right.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions about we're only going to cover 4 guys. We've already covered Kincaid, Laporta. We're doing Michael Mayer now. We're going to get to Tucker Kraft in just a second here. If you got any questions about those 4 guys or anyone else, feel free to drop them by. We'll definitely talk Schumacher after we're done here, because I did actually go see him live. I drove all the way to Michigan. I saw Schumacher play live, and I have some things to say. So That'll be fun.
Should we roll this clip? We have a clip of you.
In a second. Let's finish Mayer. Let's finish Mayer.
We have more Mayer clips.
Yeah, dude, we got Michael Mayer.
We don't have just one Michael Mayer clip?
No. Not at all.
This is him again?
Oh, no. No. We only have one Michael Mayer? Okay. This is not Michael Mayer.
Oh, we did. I was just joking. Okay, so we do only why we only have one Michael Mayer clip? I guess. Well, he's a complete tight end. We know that.
Yeah. Let's talk about it then. All right. So, I mean, I told you that I would not be drafting Kincaid or Laporta ahead of Michael Mayer, but I also think that if we were to rank him in the 2023 rookie class, that it's completely pointless. All right, I'll tell you why ranking Michael Mayer is pointless, because I'm going to do it completely different. I'm going to open up the doors to a whole new avenue. Let's start this and let's see how wild this gets. My tier 1 tight ends in no particular order: Tony Gonzalez, Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce. My tier 3 tight ends in no particular order: probably going to be guys like Antonio Gates, Shannon Sharp, Kellen Winslow, maybe Mark Andrews, the way he's playing. He probably gets in there. That's tier 1. That's tier 3. Who's tier 2? That's Michael Mayer. I'm not going to rank him in this 2023 rookie draft when I just told you he's going to be the 4th best tight end in NFL history. That's my expectation. If he's not the 4th best tight end ever, I will call him a bust. I will not say that Mayer did not pan out. I will simply tell you Michael Mayer is an NFL bust. That's how high I am on him and the types of expectations that I have for Michael Mayer. The reason why this tight end class is strong, because of him, not because of Kincaid. Promise you that. Because of this guy. I do want to say one more thing before we move on, and we can get to the video then. I took Michael Mayer 5th overall in a super flex tight end premium league after the first night of the draft. Again, Michael Mayer got drafted round 2. I am so convicted with this guy that I took him 5th overall before round 2 of the NFL draft.
Why don't you just trade down?
If I have a picture of it. What's that?
Why don't you just trade down?
Who's his QB though?
No one wanted to trade down.
Oh,
couldn't do it.
This year, that's a good point, Mike. This year, let's just say he doesn't have a QB this year. But next year, aren't the Raiders in line to make a huge splash and get a top 2, like a disgustingly good prospect, rookie QB?
They have to get a top 3 pick to get one of the 2 QBs. That's the only way to guarantee it, because the Cardinals could have the 1st and 2nd pick overall easily.
The Cardinals,
yeah, I don't believe in that either. I think Houston's way more improved, but I mean, I would say
yeah. But Houston traded their pick though.
Yeah, but Houston's not going to be the 2nd worst team in football.
No, I mean, you don't know that. We don't know that.
I don't. You're right.
No. They probably won't, but they are projected to be the 2nd worst team in football.
Yeah,
betting odds. I mean, it is there,
sure.
And Cardinals are projected
for sure,
to be the worst. So look, it probably won't. That doesn't usually work that way, but they are there. They are like it's reality. Like it's close. Like it's projected to be. So it's it's close. I forgot who was last. I think last year was maybe the Texans or something. Texans Falcons. So
they had this.
They
should have. They're
going to be a bad team. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they're right now. It's projected to be Cardinals' absolute worst team and Texans' 2nd to worst team. So it's regardless, it's heavy competition with the 2 Cardinals picks. I think that's the point Mike's making, which is I'd be very scared. Those 2 teams suck. But I mean, people are saying they can always trade up, but you guys don't think so that the Raiders are in line to go get a huge quarterback in 2024? I'm sure that's what they're doing. I'm sure that's what they're talking about. I'm sure that's been their goal for months. Several months.
Could.
Like a free agent or a rookie?
Rookie. A top 2 quarterback in next year's draft.
There's only 2 good ones, right?
Yeah, but that's what
3. There can be a 3rd one. You guys are not giving Quinn Ewers any love.
You don't think they talked about this before shipping Derek Carr?
I don't think they know what they're doing. They're horrible.
Yeah, they're a joke. Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I think both of you guys are right. I think we're both right.
They have no idea.
They talked about it, but they still have no idea.
They have no idea, bro. Like they have no like semblance of a
Oh,
GM.
I
I
know.
don't know. No one knows what they're doing over
I
there.
know a lot of people that worked for the Raiders, and during this is during Al Davis's like last years. It was a mess. And
How could you let
I don't.
Stidham
I think
walk?
it's
There's that alone. That
Yeah.
they don't know what they're doing. Like you don't let Stidham walk.
that was
if you know what
actually
you're
a
doing.
shocker to me. That was a shocker.
Yeah, like what? What
was-
is that? Like that shows you don't know what you're doing. Right.
Hey, this is
there.
a good comment right here, though. I can agree with this one. Mayer did not play with a good quarterback in college, so he's used to it. I mean, if we're looking at like, I don't even know what it was. Was it Tyler Buckner or was it someone else? I think it was the other guy who was playing. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. And this guy still dominated games. We're talking single drives, Couch. I've calculated fantasy points. On one drive, he'll get you 16 points. On one drive.
Wow. He's
That's
just the
what he's
man.
doing for you.
He's like a
I did the
music
math
video.
for
He's
you.
like playing every position. He just clones himself.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
Wow.
Hey, maybe
Um,
Aiden O'Connell's the next Purdy. You never know.
Yeah.
And then things can turn around.
There's like only one Purdy ever. So
Everyone's chasing it though. Everyone's trying to get the
odds.
next one.
It's just the odds are just like close to zero is all. That's all I'm saying. It's just it's tough. But I think they're in line to get a quarterback. You know what? I mean, yeah, the Raiders, they don't know what they're doing probably, and they usually screw it up even if they're on the cusp of something good. That being said, maybe they'll fall into a situation where they'll get a top rookie quarterback drafted because that's one thing we can at least all agree on is that they do suck. So they will get a high draft pick. They do need a top 3 or they need to trade up.
I think they hit on their first 2 this year though. They hit on Wilson and then they definitely hit on Mayer, so they're actually not terrible this year.
That's TBA, the to be
TBA, exactly.
Could be way worse. Could have been way worse. Though.
You guys are not allowed to bully Sushane until what do we give it? 3 years? We're gonna give it 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
And then
it doesn't feel like a run.
Stop bullying me. Stop, guys. I don't appreciate it. Yeah, that's when you guys are bullying him.
Yeah. At that point, I get a little bit of a leeway for sure. I will say this and move on. Just for this year, saying now Jimmy Garoppolo, he does play whatever games he plays. He tight ends. Kittle was always good with Jimmy G. Let's say Jimmy G does not play and they turn that rookie quarterback that they drafted out of Purdue, Aiden O'Connell. Rookie quarterbacks love tight ends. He could be a little bit of a redraft, kind of like a back half of the season redraft guy, Michael Mayer. That's what I'm hoping for, right? As far as like what do I want to see from him this year? I want to see a little bit of redraft potential kind of near the back half of the season. And if that happens, then we know we're in the right direction for sure. Well,
I don't know if I would say redraft. I don't know. That's a bold one, but you're saying you want to see something this year. I'm not going to be condoning all this redraft talk. That's a little scary, but
can I say one thing?
It could happen though. I'm not doubting it though. I just think it's a little, I'm just a little scared.
Let me drop this hammer Let me drop this hammer down on you then. All right. Last year, there was a guy, he was a nickel safety named Kyle Hamilton. He was drafted very highly. I think he was the first.
Oh yeah,
DB.
This is a good story. Yeah, I know. This is a great story.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when they're interviewing him, they have a limited time to interview him. They don't have 3 hours. They don't have 3 days. It's not like I can just hit up Kyle Hamilton's phone and be like, hey, you're up for an interview. You got some time to answer these questions? Like, no, you have a limited amount of time. And they asked him, hey, man, how did you guard Michael Mayer? Because he looks like an animal. That's what they asked him. Because when they're looking at him for 2022, they're like, hey, bro, you're dope. But, man, your teammate Michael Mayer, he's something else. So they think he's a pro-ready guy. When he was a freshman in college, he played as a freshman, as a sophomore, and as a junior. He was the most productive tight end in the last 20 years. He mentioned that. He's pretty polished, man. He's pretty NFL ready. Again, I know there's so many nuances, so I don't want to put the expectation of day one, week one. But I want to see something. I want to see something in year one for sure out of Michael Mayer. That's what I expect.
What are we talking about,
I'm
man?
steaming up my glasses.
Yeah.
That's what I got on Michael Mayer. let's get to the video first, or Tucker Kraft first. Or what do you want to do here?
Whatever. This is your show now. You took over the show. This is a Tucker Kraft clip I'm going to play, if that's okay.
Okay. So FCS footage, hard to come by, but at least we can see that type of stuff, right? 50-50 ball, contested catches, catch radius, ball tracking ability, all on display. A little bit of toughness too, because he's kind of fighting the defender through the route. Physicality is all there, and of course, as you see him waltz through the end zone, you can kind of see he's a little bit larger. I have another clip though, the next one I think that's really going to show you his size. Actually, not this one, but the one after. This one right here. I mean, you can really see how thick this guy is. I mean, my God, that looks like a cyborg, right? He looks ginormous. Maybe it's one of those things where I've just seen too many guys and it's like, they look like thinner and larger and whatever. But my God, this guy, I was reading on one place, I think it was like Bleacher Report, maybe Sports Illustrated or something. They described him as a Marvel superhero. That right there is what a Marvel superhero looks like, my friends. Tucker Kraft, for me, is my tight end too. Okay? Now, Couch, I want to respond to something you said a couple of days back. You were saying, hey, am I being too wild? Am I being too against the grain? Am I trying to be too out there? Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Couch. I'm too out there every single year. I was too out there last year with Chigakonkwo, putting him as my tight end too, when everyone had McBride 1, Dulcich 2. I had Dulcich 1, Okonkwo 2, who was right. Back in 2017 would be the biggest one that I had for you. OJ Howard, people were all over OJ Howard, Evan Engram, and David Njoku. But I went wild. I went way, way wild. I had a 5th-round draft choice out of Iowa as my tight end 1. You know who that was, Mike? That was George Kittle.
Wow.
So when I go wild, I hit big. That's all I'm going to say with Tucker Kraft. I know I'm going wild. I know I'm going against the grain. I know he was the second tight end drafted by his own team. But I don't care, because so was Mark Andrews, brother. Hayden Hurst went round 1, 2019. Mark Andrews, round 3, 2019. I'm going Tucker Kraft, who's built more like Mark Andrews, ahead of Luke Musgrave, his teammate, who's built like Hayden Hurst. That's why I'm going Tucker Kraft, and I'm going to be bullish with this. This is a guy that I've been high on since November of last year. Okay? This is not something new. This is not some rookie fever. This is a guy I remember messaging our captain Bob in November saying, hey man, I like this Tucker Kraft guy. He's going to be my tight end too. He was saying no one's got him at tight end too. All good, fine. Calling your shot. Let's see how it goes. And then a couple weeks later, ESPN had Tucker Kraft as their tight end too. This is back in December, January. Of course, as more guys, went through the draft and the process expanded throughout the pre-draft month, Tucker Kraft started falling a little bit, and you had Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, Luke Musgrave rise up. Tucker Kraft got forgotten about. Why? Because he's an FCS guy with no analytics on him. Analytics are not available for FCS. The general public need analytics for tight ends because they don't really know how to evaluate it. That's the way I feel. They think athleticism and everything that matters and all that stuff. I feel different. I feel that it's all about the production, it's all about the traits, it's all about the skills and whatever. He's got everything that I'm looking for. What is he lacking?
I posted my rankings on Instagram. Lots of crazy comments from both sides. I got this one guy going in there and defending me on every comment. Shout out to, unnecessary totally, but shout out to you for doing that. Whoever, I forget your name, but it's been nuts. People are two people were like, bro, I love the Roschon Johnson and some people will call me very bad names for Roschon Johnson.
Sure.
But how do I need your help here. So just tell me what to write. You're going to ghostwrite this for me. We're doing it live. I don't know how to respond to the, sometimes I know the answer, but I feel just you put it into words. So we have a comment here. Oops, I didn't mean to show that. Got to explain the Kraft over Musgrave decision. So what do we write for this to KT Whistle.
So let me first get my thoughts in order, because I know the actual response has to be a little bit shortened, right? With Tucker Kraft,
I mean, this
end.
podcast's going to take 8 hours anyway. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't have to be short. He'll just see if it's long. He'll say that I got my feelings hurt. He'll call me a snowflake. He'll go on to other things. But shorter, that's the only reason why shorter is typically better. Because when you do a long thing, they think you hurt your feelings. But it could be long. It could be long.
Sure. Tucker Kraft is a natural athlete at the tight end position. He is a football player in the truest sense. Okay. Luke Musgrave, kind of mid, honestly, kind of mid. And then the way he catches a football is, ironically, we're about to show the video where I have the clip with my players. The way Luke Musgrave catches a football is the way that I'm trying to unteach my tight ends to catch a football. So he does it wrong. And at this point in the game, like, this is something that it's called catch, rip, and dip. That's the exercise. At this point in time, if you're not able to do that because you practice it every day, you're not going to fix it. And Tucker Kraft, when you have a guy who attacks the football in a league that it's always getting attacked, he's gonna thrive in that sense. Mike, I know you're a big basketball guy. Think of it like this, right? When you get a rebound, there's two ways to get the rebound, right? You can wait for the ball to come to your arms, or you can go up and attack the ball and go get it, right? Both of those work in basketball. It just kind of depends situationally. Like, if there's traffic, if there's guys there, you're probably gonna have to go up and get it. We're not talking about basketball, though. We're talking about football. This is not a rebound. This is a pass that you're going to go get. Everyone in the NFL, whether you're playing on offense or on defense, is attacking the football. So if you're going like Luke Musgrave, waiting for the ball to come to your arms, it's not going to bode well for you.
Did Kraft play basketball?
He is a 2-sport athlete. I think he did. Maybe track or something.
That helps my evaluation then, if he did.
Yeah.
He translates well.
Yeah. And then on top of that, when you're drafted and then the other guy drafted next to you is this Marvel superhero, that's not even my words. I'm using someone else's words to describe him as a Marvel superhero. I'd say he's a cyborg, whichever one you want to use. I think Cyborg is actually a Marvel superhero from Teen Titans, ironically. So there you go. When that's your competition, in my opinion, it's over. Like, if this is Laporta versus Tucker Kraft on the same team, okay, now it's like, they play the same position. Laporta is a little bit more skilled, while Kraft has more potential, raw potential. Maybe that's more of a debate, and I wouldn't be as bullish. But I came into the NFL draft with no landing spot, thinking Luke Musgrave is going to be a bust. I don't think Kraft is going to be a bust. I think Kraft is going to be a superstar. So that's where we're at.
Okay, let's try this again. What do I?
All right, now we can get into the comment here.
Should I? I started writing what you were saying. Should I delete this? Or?
Yeah, we can delete that. We can recraft it.
Okay, tell me exactly what you're right.
Kraft has way more potential and has exhibited higher level physicality, ball tracking, and a larger catch radius on tape.
Ball tracking. And what was
a larger catch radius on tape. He is built like a superhero. He is built like a superhero. The way Musgrave catches the ball scares me. Let's go with that. I'm not saying it's bad. It just scares me. It's terrifying.
He doesn't attack. He doesn't attack,
the
ball.
Football. Yeah,
he waits for the ball to fall in his arms.
Yeah, he's gonna do a lot of this, right? You're gonna see a lot of his stuff where he runs the route, and you're gonna see his arms go right in front of his chest. He'll catch the ball. He'll turn and do whatever. When you see guys like Kincaid, and when you see guys like Laporta, and even Michael Mayer, you're going to see their arms out. They're going to catch the ball in stride. They're going to tuck it in. They're going to do all of that type of stuff. We saw that one freakish catch with Michael Mayer. that's the type of stuff that he could do, that he can bring to the table. Musgrave is not going to bring that type of stuff. And on top of that, he's a flex tight end.
Musgrave will be a bust. We can end it like that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a bust.
Posting it.
And that's the only one I'll say who's going to be a bust.
Oh,
I think all the other tight ends can be useful in some regard. I think Musgrave is actually like the bust of this tight end class completely. Face plant.
Okay, it won't let me post it. I'm gonna save that in my notes and post it later.
Short version.
Drew says Tucker Kraft played football and basketball at Timberlake High School in South Dakota.
Sold.
Yes.
That's all I
Mike,
need to hear.
does he look familiar to you? Because in my opinion,
Kittle, is this the Kittle?
This is the Kittle. Yeah, okay. This is the George Kittle.
Yeah, he does run. He does look more like Kittle. Like runs harder. He looks stronger.
He looks taller than Kittle.
Taller.
Though, is he?
He's a little taller.
Okay.
A little bit taller. He's 6'5". I think Kittle's 6'4".
Laporta's shorter, right? He's like 6'2".
Yeah, 6'3".
Okay. No, not 6'2". He's also in that 6'3", 6'4" range. Yeah, 6'2" becomes H-back territory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not that far off.
Not that far off. Yeah. Obviously, we're a fantasy football channel, so we don't really care too much about blocking. But if there's one guy that I would show you blocking, if we want to do maybe a deep dive couch on the future on a later day, man, I mean, Tucker Kraft's blocking is really spectacular. It's really going to show you the physicality and the power, just the level of willpower that goes into what he's doing. So
is he better blocker than Musgrave?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's another that he'll be on the.
Yeah, Musgrave's the flex, right?
Be on the field more.
Yep. Y versus F.
He's the better blocker. I'm saving.
It's a complicated debate, but once you learn what these tight ends can do and what's good for fantasy, it's pretty straight. I don't want to say it's easy because it's never easy. We're not always batting 100%, but it's at least a little bit more straightforward. So I want to end Tucker Kraft here by saying this is why in my opinion, the class is underrated, right? Because I've seen Tucker Kraft go round 4. I've seen Tucker Kraft go round 5. I've seen him go undrafted, right? In my draft, I am making sure to take him. If you're going to take him in round 4 or round 5, I'm just going to make sure I get him in round 3 because I don't care. I like him that much. I don't see anyone else I would take in round 3 anyway. I'm just going to secure him, even though it's an egregious reach. I think he's just that good. And if I'm flat out wrong, I lost the 3rd round pick. Big whoop. I have him ranked as my 8th overall player in Superflex tight end premium. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 overall. Obviously, I'm not going to draft him 8 because I know I can get him way later. But like I said, he's going round 4 or 5. I'm going to for sure take him in round 3 to make sure I get him. And I've actually already done that in quite a few of my leagues. So this is a guy that I'm very high on. It's going to be a controversial take, but I think this is the one that's going to pay off big time in a couple of years down the road.
This is actually interesting. So I haven't seen any Tucker Kraft truthers until I went to Twitter. If you do go to Twitter, especially Green Bay Packers Twitter, not even fantasy land, but these super hardcore dynasty guys and Packers land, you will see people saying similar things like, oh, you mean when they're talking about the tight end one for the Packers, it's like, oh, that's a weird way of spelling Kraft. There's people that know this guy that are really, really high on him. And I'm telling you, it's such a small minority. It's got to be 1%. So why I'm saying this, the odds are that guy's not in your dynasty league because it's not 10%. It's not like Michael Mayer. If you wait into the 2nd round, he's gone any second. Tick, tick, tick. Michael Mayer's gone. People would still know he's really good. Even people that hate him know he's good. That's the thing. He won't last too long. But a guy like Kraft will almost surely get overlooked in your dynasty league. There's not that many Kraft truthers out there. So the odds, the odds that guy's in your league I'm telling you, it's super low. It's gonna be like 10%. That there's
If at all.
one Kraft truth. That's what 1% comes down to. If you say there's 10 people in my league, one out of those 10 guys, it's gonna be a 10% chance there's gonna eat just one guy.
Just one guy.
Yeah. So you don't gotta worry. So why I'm telling you this again? He's great value. That's all I'm saying. We essentially reached for him. Where did we get him? We got him 4.04. So early to mid round 4.
Yeah,
is where we got Tucker Kraft in Superflex tight end premium. Let's talk about Shoemaker if we can, because I just saw him here. He went before. Now he's on the Cowboys, so that's a big name. We got some stupid sleeper guy named Tucker Kraft, who's the second tight end on his team. Like, what do you do? Oh, it's funny how Darnell Washington's the very next pick. Like that.
I know. I saw that.
Like that's called a waste of roster space, buddy. Wow. But yeah, I get Luke Shoemaker. He's on America's team. Everyone's like, oh, that Cowboys tight end. Like, I don't know who is going to be. He's projected to be the second tight end on that team. I don't know what's up. I want to hear from you. What do you think about that tight end battle there? And what do you think about Shoemaker as a talent? Mike's back. All right. He's just in time for America's team, Mike.
Yeah.
All right. America's
Alex,
team.
I'll do more than just that for you. I'll tell you what my thoughts on Schoonmaker are. I'll tell you what my thoughts on Schoonmaker's tight end room in college is. And I'll tell you what about the Dallas Cowboys tight end room as well.
8-hour podcast. Let's go.
8-hour podcast.
6.5 hours left, guys. Buckle your seatbelts. Let's do this. Let's go.
I have a hard stop at 8:30.
You guys know Mike at 80 minutes, he explodes. I mean, that's that.
I have a hard stop on
this.
That's
fine, Mike.
Okay, so first of all, right? Luke Schoonmaker, he's a blocking tight end. If I wanted to end it there, I could end it there, but I know people are going to want more from that. He's an H-back. He's a blocking tight end. He's an H-back. What is his prototype? He's an H-back. The guy that Couch is highlighting right now, Jake Ferguson, that's the guy you want to draft because that's the guy who's going to get the receiving upside. If Jake Ferguson gets hurt, you want to get Peyton Hendershot. You want to bypass Luke Schoonmaker.
I was just about to ask you about him, the young guy. Yeah, Peyton Hendershot.
Mm-hmm.
God, these names. Oh man, these.
There's a lot of names.
Chikakonku is way easier to me than the Cowboys tight end. Right? You guys really should have just drafted a tight end early. You guys are just these names, man. They're killing. They're so long.
Too much. Luke S. We'll call it Luke S.
Shoemaker.
Shoemaker. Yep. He was the second best tight end on his own college team. Now, real quick, I know people are going to say the same thing about Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington, Georgia, really exciting. He made that insane catch at the combine. Everyone got, hyped up on him. Darnell Washington, amazing. And he's playing with Brock Bowers. So everyone's like, oh, the production shouldn't be there because Brock Bowers is so good. Well, same thing with Luke Schoonmaker, except his tight end on his team from Michigan is not nearly as good as Brock Bowers. He's very average, middle of the road. His name is Colston Loveland, okay? And when I went over to Michigan, I drove all the way there from Illinois. I got to see the Michigan versus Illinois game. Went to Illinois, from Illinois. My team lost, which sucked, but the experience was great. It was fun. But I saw a lot firsthand of what Schoonmaker can bring to the table as a blocker, and it's pretty good. So what I'm thinking is, if I'm drafting Luke Schoonmaker in round 2 of the NFL draft, why on earth would I use him as a receiver when he can actually be a very, very strong blocking presence for my team? Furthermore, the other guy who was catching passes for Michigan that game, the day that I went there and saw the game, Colston Loveland, he's actually kind of decent at, in terms of catching a football. So, like, compared to Luke Schoonmaker, there's no comparison. Loveland is way better, and Loveland's not even that good. He's all right. He's not that good. So what does that mean? What does that make Schoonmaker?
Let me ask you a question about Schoonmaker. George Kittle, one reason I love his blocking is because it looks like it. Every time we talk about video games, we're always talking about the cool plays, but his blocking looks like a video game because he's able to sprint from the left side to the right side and make a block on the far side without getting a penalty. And people don't notice this thing when they watch football. And I'm like, how did Kittle go from the left side of the field to the right side and make the block on the other side to spring off this run? It makes no sense. He's just that fast. So in other words, is Schoonmaker, like you said, he's a really good blocker, but is he able to move and block well? Like he can block at the next level. He can move, if he has to move laterally to block, can he do that as well? Or is it just more like a lineman, like a guard blocking?
It's a little bit of both. He definitely is an athlete in the sense that he can move around in space. He can get to the next level, like you're saying. I'm not sitting here and telling you Luke Schoonmaker is never going to catch a pass in his life, right? It's not like the Ravens guy. They had Mark Andrews and they had the only blocker, Nick Boyle, blocking only type. But I mean, Schoonmaker is not going to see a ton of passes go his way. Like his receiving ability is not that great. Blocking ability is where it's key, right? You can do a lot of stuff for you, more than just a guard or like a tackle bigger guy. He's more than a sixth offensive lineman. He can really be a creative, schematic blocker for you. And Dallas, they're going to run the football a lot with Pollard. I'm not going to say they're going to be a run-heavy team, but Schoonmaker is definitely going to help you there. So Jake Ferguson would be the guy that I would take because Schoonmaker is a blocker. That's my thoughts on that. Pretty clear cut.
Dak, hopefully you're still here to hear the takes. I had the cliff notes on that early. I'm glad that I was right on that. But that's okay. I mean, that's good to know that you're saying Peyton Hendershot's essentially Ferguson's handcuff. So that's a long road for Luke Schoonmaker to be a fantasy relevant tight end, far from anything you could rely on.
Yep, that's what I'd say. Yeah.
What do we got here? Do we want to show this?
Yeah, sure. These are some other tight ends. I've kind of listed them in order of, I guess, the alignment. This is more football stuff than fantasy. If anyone has questions about any of these guys, I guess we'll take them now. Otherwise, I mean, there's a couple names on these lists that they're interesting sleepers, but I mean, they're nothing more than just interesting sleepers that honestly, if Tucker Kraft is going undrafted, I'm probably not going to draft any of these guys. These are all like, waiver wire stashes, taxi squad guys, kind of after the NFL draft or after the rookie draft, see who you can get if you need a tight end. The most interesting one to me is Payne Durham. He's that inline wide that we talked about earlier. That's the prototype that I like. Also, I am not into Cade Otton. I know some people are really high on Cade Otton. I know some people like Cade Otton. Some people are wherever, meh on Cade Otton. I'm a little bit lower. I'm a little bit down on him. And I think Payne Durham walks into Tampa Bay as the best tight end in the room. So, I mean, that's got to be worth something, right? And you're getting him for free practically. I'm not calling him an elite asset. I'm not even going to call him a guy you can count on for fantasy points or even start more than 3 weeks in a season. But, when we're talking about guys you can pick up off the waiver wire for zero fab or for not even a claim, like a free ad.
Don't touch any Bucks tight ends. Cade Otton, no, don't do that. Cade Otton was a guy that I didn't really push or anything, but he was a super, super deep sleeper. He was like a thought of mine. The only reason he was relevant was because, Tom Brady was checking it down and throwing a million times. Don't do it. These guys don't have a quarterback. They're not going to do it. If Tom Brady comes back and plays, it's going to be like on the Raiders, if anything. And they're checking in to see. No, I'm being serious with this. He's a minority owner of the Raiders.
Yeah. And
they're checking in to see by the rule book, can he play? I think he can. And so he's not going to be playing for the Bucs. So the Bucs don't have a quarterback this year. Just Kyle Trask. I mean, I'm not writing him off, but I mean, like he's the only hope if any of those guys are going to pan out. But with no quarterbacks and with still some weapons there, like don't mess with any Bucs tight ends. I'm a big proponent of not wasting roster space. So that was another one of my cool arguments. People went back and forth with my rankings, like guys like Hendon Hooker. I essentially didn't even rank. It's like I think he has very limited upside. I don't like his situation. By the time you're able to start him, he's like 28, 29 years old. Like, what are you going to do with that? That's a waste of roster space.
Sure.
And then when you get the chance, you're going to get barely any time, and he's going to be your QB2 at best. So it's like, I'm trying to win a championship. I'm not trying to, sit here and not hurt Hendon Hooker's feelings or not hurt some Hendon Hooker truther's feelings. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to win first place in my dynasty league, if not this year, in the future. You guys always got to remember the goal. I always say that, like, it's always the dumb question, dumb thing. What's your goal? Is to win. But you can't do that by having a bunch of roster spaces filled up with guys like Denzel Mims and the Skoranek on the Rams, or Ben Skoranek, and these bums are, like, what, let me say, I got one Ron. I was telling go get Sammy Watkins. He's free. I was telling everyone to do that. That's called a waste of roster space. I was wrong on him. I cut him. Hopefully you cut him too around the same time. So don't waste roster space. It's very valuable. Cut day is difficult. Even on rebuilding teams, cut days could be difficult. We know cut days are super difficult in the championship league, that with the high stakes dynasty, where they make it on purpose. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's hard. Don't waste roster space. That's one of the reasons I have my rankings how they are. If a guy is going to be a tight end 11, if a QB is going to be sitting on your bench for 2 years before he takes a snap, and then when he does, he's going to be 28 years old, that's called a waste of roster space. And I'm essentially, not putting them on my rankings or ranking them super low for you guys.
Totally fair.
We got this one picture. What is this? What is this? I like this. All right.
Okay. So we're done with 2023. We got it all in the books. Any questions were answered. Nothing, no loose ends to tie.
David Njoku, I don't like him. I'm more with the Elijah Moore hype. If anything, if I'm hopping on that hype, got to see where DeAndre Hopkins goes. Of course, that's going to be a huge effect. But I'm not. Let's not do Njoku. I mean, why? We saw how Njoku was last year, and now this year, they have somebody that's better receiver in Elijah Moore who can excel and just be that stud wide receiver that we thought. Now, Sushin, he was one of your guys.
Njoku was better than Kyle Pitts last year.
Yeah.
Not my guy.
No, Elijah Moore.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of your guys. And believe it or not, even though, like, you can say one sentence in a way, you can say Sushin, oh, that was a great hit. Also, it was a great miss by Sushin with the second year. Elijah Moore was actually one of my biggest regrets not drafting in all of fantasy football. Now, I guess I kind of look smart missing out on him year 2, but that's how much I felt I missed out. I had FOMO, and that's how much I love Elijah Moore as a prospect. Definitely overlooked him. Somebody in our Discord, Sully, essentially called him Jarvis Landry, but with more explosiveness. Jarvis Landry with much faster. That's a scary combo because he's really fast. But he is that prototypical slot. I think it's just what the Browns needed. This was a great signing by them. They took a little bit of risk. Of course, we don't know the attitude. But I always give people a second chance. The Jets, that's a hard team to maintain your exposure. Everything fell apart. He did kind of act immature, but I think he did learn from it. That's my guess. And I think he's going to be an incredible wide receiver. And I mean, that's not, I'm not with Njoku. I'm not doing it. Like I said, if I'm going for a tight end, Njoku's that, sleeper kind of tight end. I'm going with someone with upside. Only way Njoku gets there is if he scores 11, 13 touchdowns. I get, it's doable, but I don't like to just rely on that. It's not happening. He's not moving the change. He's not a PPR beast. He's not, doing plays downfield. Greg Dulcich. Now that's a little that he has ups. He has at least he has the upside. Might fall on the face. You might look dumb with that, but he has that upside. Chikakonku again. The same guys we've been doing. That's another guy with upside. Like, who's the targets going to? Who's going to catch the balls there? Chikakonku was heavily involved as a very raw tight end year 1, and reports are saying he's going to be much more involved this year. So go for upside, especially when you already have a tight end. right? And Njoku probably not going top 12, is he? In redraft, I'm not sure. If he is,
No.
it's going to be really like he's going to be like number 12. You're going for that second tight end, go for upside. Maybe even take a rookie. Don't go for Njoku. I've seen Njoku a lot.
I have him in one league that I have to win in the Empire League, actually, and I am already actively trying to get. There's a couple of guys who put tight ends on the trade block. Darren Waller, Dalton Schultz, Irv Smith. So I'm trying to add one of those guys to Njoku, and I mean Irv Smith. He's not anything sexy, right? Like Dalton Schultz, he's old with Houston. That's just basically telling you guys, like, hey, I have Njoku. I don't feel great about it. I still want someone like Dalton Schultz just to be a little bit more secure that I have an option every week, because I know that he's going to screw me for a few times in the week in the season. I know that. Last slide here. I did want to talk to you about, hey, if you're going to fade the tight ends, what does the future look like? Well, it looks pretty bleak. If you're not going to go for tight ends this year, there's one guy next year who's pretty good. People know his name already. Brock Bowers, Georgia tight end. He's 6'3", 6'4", 220-ish. My NFL pro comp to you would be if you took a bowling ball and you attach it to a pogo stick, that would be Brock Bowers. What a lethal combination.
Who's sexier, Brock Bowers or Michael Mayer? Go.
Michael Mayer.
Wow. Okay. So you're all in. You're all in. You're going to have to log out if Michael Mayer's a bust. You know that. You're going to have to, like, you're done.
I'm all in. So this is like my kind of Mount Rushmore here. Kyle Pitts, we already know of. I still think he's going to turn it around despite his poor showing as a sophomore. Michael Mayer, I think for me, is going to be the king here. He is the best of these four. We're going to do the official reveal for Brock Bowers next year. I'll bring this graphic back. And then we're going to have to wait 3 years. 3 years, Couch, to get someone decent, because in 25 and 26, there's absolutely freaking no one. The next Brock Bowers on Georgia doesn't really look as good. It's pretty bad. So if you want a tight end, if you need one, a younger one, man, this class might be your best bet at getting one.
I have a hard stop, so I have to hop off, but
I think we're just about done here anyway, so good timing.
Okay.
I had a couple things to say, but yeah, we're almost done.
Okay.
You could take off for sure. All right, Mike. Just found out last night of the number 9 pick in 12-team Superflex League. I would heavily consider Michael Mayer at that spot.
I was just gonna say,
if you need a tight end, I get it, and you can always trade down as well. Trade down. We loved. Someone asked about the Panthers. That was a redraft question. I forgot it. Sorry, man. But this I could tell this is more of a redraft question. Any player from the Panthers besides defense as well. I mean, there's not really any player I want on the Panthers in redraft. I don't think not one.
Would you take a shot on Bryce Young or no? Rookie quarterback
in redraft?
Yeah.
I mean, if Superflex, that's the thing. So if you draft in 2 quarterbacks, even if it's not Superflex, sure. But I mean, not really. I just don't think he's gonna put huge numbers up his first year. But it's okay. Like if you're going with that type of strategy, it's just not a target though. Like if it's super flex, it's like, oh, that's kind of scary. And then if it's not, it's like, I mean, you could just wait. Any quarterback will do as my QB2. I just don't see it being huge. Like the team's not that great. Like I don't see a ton of touchdowns for Bryce Young. It's all about dynasty for me. And you know what? That's what the Panthers are doing too. They're trying to rebuild right now. So they're they're in the early stages. Why should we jump on like it's the end of the tracks here and like we're at the finish line? Like it's not It's not there. I do have a couple topics to talk about really quick. We'll wrap it up, guys. If you have any questions, hit us up right now, so we're going to end this soon. I'm just assuming some people were going to have Kyle Pitts questions, so I did want to talk about him.
Okay.
There was several issues. Why did Kyle Pitts suck his second year? There was several issues last year that caused Kyle Pitts to suck. Most of them, almost all of the reasons are very small, like intricate little things. They had a different coach, Drake London was there, and just like some things didn't really fit. That's there, but that's not really the case. I mean, it was really the main thing. Two main things. One was the quarterback play. The quarterback sucked. Desmond Ritter sucked, and so did Kenny Pickett. But that's just how bad Mitch Trubisky and Mariota were. That just goes to show you how bad those two were. Mariota was absolute garbage last year, and so was Trubisky. Like, those guys to me are like borderline out the league. Like, I don't really see much value. Just teams, they can't find it. They need backup quarterbacks. Like, what are you gonna? It's better than how the Broncos played that one day when they didn't have a quarterback and they had to play like an RB Davey.
Kendall Hilton or whatever.
Yeah, the legend. Yeah, so yeah, you need a quarterback. So yeah, I'd much rather have that guy. That's why they're so valuable. Like, but realistically, those guys are basically out the league in my book. There's that bad.
Yeah.
So Desmond Ritter was pretty bad last year, and the team became all of a sudden. I don't know how he did it. Got to give the coach like some, because I was a pretty big Falcons hater. Got to give coach some kind of ribbon, like really really small little thing to put on his. Was it like a lapel, whatever that's called, little pin, a small little tin pin,
small pin,
because he turned the Falcons team that couldn't run, the worst running team in the last 4 years or whatever it is, into like one of the best running.
The best running scheme in football, absolutely.
And they didn't even have a running back. They'll take. Yeah, I know. If I said that a while ago, these Tyler Algier truthers would just murder me. Sure, but you know what? Ain't even my opinion, because look who the Falcons drafted. Like, they obviously share my opinion, because they're like, you know what? Let's just risk it all and go get Bijan Robinson. So, and which is another funny thing. When I was telling you we're having a debate, a heated text message back and forth, I was like, that would be the dumbest thing if the Falcons took Bijan. And now I'm taking that back. And that was basically because I judge it from this perspective, as in, we already know Desmond Ritter is never gonna pan out. He's trash. Why did they draft him? This and that. That's just me being judgy from here. I've changed my stance, and I don't love Desmond Ritter's outlook. I don't think he'll be good, but I'm being too judgy. I'm doing what I always preach, a little bit hypocritical, and just thinking like fantasy football head. Like, in other words, being selfish, and only in my world. The Falcons see Desmond Ritter a lot. They think that he could be a starter. He could possibly be a franchise QB for them. Now, who knows better? Maybe they're delusional and they're going to be wrong, which, is very likely. Or maybe I'm wrong. Like, I'm giving Desmond Ritter a chance. I announced this officially on Twitter. I'm giving him a chance. And if he's okay, this pick by them getting Bijan is not dumb. And by the way, who knows more about making it work? The coach who turned this team into the best rushing team, or me? I think I got to give the coach that. Remember, I already gave him his pin, so he can show. I don't have a pin. He has a pin.
He's got the pin now.
He's got the pin. Like, he's beat me. He already beat me when we go head to head. I think it wasn't that dumb of a pick. If Desmond Ritter is okay. We'll see. It's a big ask, because we both kind of don't like him, but hey, they have hope for him. And if that guy's okay, and then, wow, this team really is turning things around. They're gonna be great. Unfortunately, that's not really helping Kyle Pitts a lot. All he needs. So that was one thing. They ran a lot, obviously. Another thing, the quarterback play sucked. What I mean by that also is Kyle Pitts saw some targets. Actually, it was up and down. He saw the targets. He led the league in getting uncatchable targets, though. It was that bad. Like, the QB play was that bad. So if we tune the targets up this much, if we tune the accuracy up this much, just get it to below average type of numbers, Kyle Pitts could explode yet again. My worry is public perception. Kyle Pitts, he's too sexy. He's too athletic. Everyone's enthusiastic about him. I don't know how many people's feelings he hurt. Not mine, luckily, because I didn't draft him at all last year. It's going to depend what I'm saying is, it's going to depend where he's going. So if he's going too early, I'm not going to be touching him, but maybe he falls. There's still hope for him. And if you're in Dynasty, there's definitely still hope for him. He still has the talent. He still has the athleticism. He just needs a QB. Unfortunately, this has turned into a running team and not a passing team. That's not going to help.
Yeah,
but
it's not. It's
it
not.
is what
You're right
it
about
is.
that.
It
I'm
is
hopeful,
what
though. Like you said, the talent is there. The quarterback situation, not there. I mean, bottom line is we can both feel how we want to feel about Desmond Ritter. The reality of the situation is you really never know until you know. And in order for us to know what Ritter is, they're going to have to surround him with the best possible weapons they can. They've got a starting receiver, Drake London. They've got the starting tight end, Kyle Pitts. They've got the starting running back, Bijan Robinson. Now it's go time. Now it's actually time to see, hey, can Ritter take the next step, or is he what me and you think he's going to be? And that's not going to be good for Kyle Pitts.
He's
So
got
Dynasty is
real.
still very hopeful.
That's a real trio right there. You name Drake London, Pitts, and Bijan. That's a real trio. This Mount Rushmore got me thinking of something else I wanted to talk about. Last year, 2022, rookies. If you took a wide receiver, oh boy, did you not regret that? Because all these wide receivers were great. I'm telling you right now, especially people that are questioning my rankings, I'm telling you right now, this year, go get yourself an RB. You won't regret it. Go early rounds, late rounds. They're there. Our opinions are going to be different, right? Kendre Miller, some people are super high on him. You got the Roshan Johnson truthers like me and fellow YouTuber Brett Coleman. I met two guys, bro, that have Roshan as their RB2. One's Brett Coleman.
Wow.
And one guy in my comments, I was like, you beat me? You beat me?
I
was
thought
like,
RB3
wow.
was wild.
That's crazy. But I'm telling you, like, it's going to be, I'm telling you, go get one or two of them, though. Just like, dude, last year if you drafted any rookie wide receiver, you did fine. You're great. You drafted Garrett Wilson. Sorry, I didn't. You drafted Christian Watson. Oh, I did, and I traded for him. I did. That worked out. That's looking great. Yep. Right? Treylon Burks, that's a huge miss for us, but I mean, he's getting a lot of hype right now, though. No asthma. He's got the stress out the way. It's a lot going on, and a lot of people make up excuses, but for him, I don't hear a lot of excuses. Like, look at his quarterback play. Tannehill's like worst year. And then you had this guy, Malik Willis, who just, he's basically like, he's worse than Marcus Mariota. He's basically out the league already. Dude's already out the league. Yeah. 1 year. He's pulling a Josh Rosen, but nobody wants to trade for him. Yeah. He's already out the league. And Josh Dobbs was actually way better than Malik Willis. Fourth string quarterback just came on. Yeah. So that's how bad Malik Willis was.
I remember that now. Oh my God. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Right. See, people don't like sometimes I'm saying like not everyone's an excuse. I'm saying like I do hear excuses from other places. I don't hear much for Treylon Burks. Like, so other than Treylon, if you want to include him or not, whatever. Basically, every single rookie wide receiver last year, amazing. This year, go get an RB. One that I'm so proud that we got 16th overall in Superflex tight end premium is Devon Achane. I mean, the praise is just insane.
In best ball.
Yeah, in best ball, the format where he's going to do the best in. I don't believe a lot of praise. I like to use logic. My logic is pretty good. It's going to miss sometimes, but I have a pretty good BS meter. I mean, that's how, when I tweet something, so you guys got to trust that, it's not BS, so of course, sometimes I get fooled. Sometimes it's because of speed. I'm trying to tweet fast and I fell for it, but I got a pretty good BS meter. And when everyone's raving about H and saying this and that, like I'm putting all the pieces together, I 100% believe it. 100%. The landing spot, you forget about Sam Laporta. That's nothing. This is more perfect.
This is it.
I said that's perfect. This is a perfection on another level. This is the ideal landing spot. This is just like when Shanahan got his CMC. All right, the Dolphins got Achane. I love Devon Achane, and I was asking you, like, I hate to do this, but I was like, I got to lower Kincaid one, and like, am I allowed to do this? Everybody told me yes, including you. And that's why Kincaid went from my 12 spot to 13, just because I feel like go get you a running back. If it's not tight end premium, I'm not that pressured to go get a tight end. Yes, also, I mean, you're also making the point that it's a tight end class. Go get a tight end. I mean, I do agree too. Like it's it's just like it just doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be Kincaid, is all I'm saying. So it's like go get you a tight end if you need one, or if you like Kraft, he's going to be great value. But definitely, guys, go get a running back. Rebuilding, retooling or not, go get a running back. You got to agree with that, huh? So, I mean, just get a running back. Get it. Do it. You told me that. You're like, people should just take Bijan. Like, just don't overthink it. If you got the 1.01 super flex, whatever, just don't overthink it.
Decision should be easy. Yeah. When you're in the second round, third round, you have no idea who to take. Don't take that receiver. Go take Tank Bigsby. Go get Chase Brown. Go get blah, blah, blah. Izzy Abanikanda, whoever. I agree with it. I like it. RBs and tight ends, you cannot go wrong. You will thank us in a year. Promise you that.
I did want to make an announcement. That's the end of the fantasy football segment. I did take a hiatus. And we were starting to get back into things, but I had to take another hiatus. Just want to say, man, you never know what's going to happen in life. I have a lot of personal things recently that has happened to me. I just had a litter of dogs like last year. I love dogs. One of the puppies died, like my favorite puppy, was hard on me. Our friend died in the league from drowning. He went to Mexico. He wanted to go all out. He won the league. That was the year you were in it, huh, Sushan?
It was, yeah. I met him.
Yeah. The guy, he's a great guy. And
we made a promise that if it's not going to be me, it's going to be you who wins the league.
Oh, you guys said that?
He lived up to the promise. So.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. So he was one of the guys. Like, I mean, I know him personally, not well, but like he was one of the biggest fans. And this is definitely like I don't even need to ask him. I wouldn't need to ask him. This was on his bucket list to make. I mean, you could just if you watch the video, you could see he's like screaming. He got the jersey on. He's screaming at the like like he didn't take. People that have been to the draft 7 times are like whatever. Like this guy's like this is one of my life goals. Like I really wanted to be here. He passed away. He went to Mexico. Current swelling. He passed away all of a sudden, just on a vacation. John Madden hit me hard. My idol. I always looked up to him. He was always his own cat. Always did things his own way. That hit me so hard. And one of my good friends, the guy who made a viral 49ers hit on me. We got 1 million people watch that video. They bootlegged it on Facebook. Jameezy Babe, I mean, R.I.P. man, just died in his sleep. All of a sudden, one night he's there, the next night he's gone, and I'm like, oh man, that was nasty. That you heard that song, right?
Yeah,
it's a hit.
Oh yeah,
it's a hit, and that guy was such a genius talent. He was doing rock and roll and rap now. He passed away, and then all of a sudden I went to visit my parents, and one day I get a call. I go there, and then just after I visit, I get a call, and my mom just passed away all of a sudden, just like overnight. Just a shock. She got sick and passed away. Just no warning, no nothing. So in the scheme of things, fantasy football is silly. And I love, like whether it be a video game or fantasy football, in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. It's silly, but I love it. I love it's ultimate, what you call it? Release.
Stress relief, distractor.
Yeah, it's the ultimate. Let's get it. But remember, guys, when we communicate in the grand scheme of things, man, this is all for fun. We're doing this for fun. Life's not for granted. Any day, any of us could go. Like I just named you off. I'm trying to like remember all the people that passed away the past year or two. That's affected me. I'm like, shoot, am I forgetting one? It's been so many. I know we've lost other close people that were closer to some people in the couch community, and it was just, it's there, it's gone. So just remember that, be respectful. Let's build a great community. But for those that care, that's why I just took a hiatus just to, get my mind straight. I was like, this is just not on my mind right now. But I am fully back. Appreciate all the support. I'm ready to go. Rankings coming out, sleepers are coming out, and fantasycouch.com for the draft guide and template. Rest in peace to, everybody that I just named off there. And I'm going to end it on that. I love you guys. Love the couch. All right, guys. Peace.